All right, welcome everyone. My name is Ashley Anderson, and I'm here with a couple of people from Knight Solutions to talk about Ladder Assist and what Knight Solutions does in regard to Ladder Assist. We have Sales and Marketing Director James Thompson here, and also Training and Development Director Ryan Wilson as well. So we've got some questions that we're going to talk to them about and let them explain what Knight Solutions does and what a Ladder Assist is. So why don't you guys start us off with a little introduction of yourselves and what you do at Knight Solutions, and then we'll get started with our first few questions.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Ashley. Appreciate you having us here today. My name's James Thompson. I'm Sales and Marketing Director. I'm going on about 7 years with Knight Solutions now. I have a bachelor's degree in business administration and been a HAG certified residential inspector for about 6 years now, and also HAG certified file reviewer as well.
Hey, I'm Ryan. I oversee the training here at Knight Solutions. I'm a HAG certified commercial and residential inspector and oversee the development of the technicians.
All right, fantastic. Thank you both for being here with us today. The first thing we want to talk about is what is a Ladder Assist? Knight Solutions has that as one of their services, and we want to make sure we explain that.
Yeah, absolutely. Ladder assisting. There's a very up and coming niche within the insurance industry over the past decade or so, I would say. So what do we actually do? We do the climbing of the roofing systems on behalf of the adjusters for the insurance company. So once a homeowner files an insurance claim for possible, storm-related damage to their property, the adjuster is tasked with figuring out what kind of damage is there, how much damage, condition of the roofing system, whether they should repair it or replace it. And Knight Solutions, as a Ladder Assist company, we send a technician out into the field, meet with the adjusters. Sometimes, now, adjusters are not always present, but we do the inspection part of the adjusting portion of insurance, right? We go up on the roof, we take the pictures, we document what kind of damages are there, whether they be storm-related damage or not. We quantify that damage. We we document it very well. We back it up with good photos of damage, material identification, all that kind of good stuff. And then we send a full report back to the insurance adjuster so that they have the best look possible about what condition that property is in, what damages are there. And then the adjuster would take that information, correlate it with a homeowner's insurance policy to figure out what they can pay for, what they can cover per the insurance policy. That's what Ladder Assist technicians do.
Okay. And so the person that would be hiring a Ladder Assist technician, that would be an adjuster?
Correct. I've seen some statements here lately. I've seen some posts on the internet, YouTube, people believing that the homeowners are responsible for hiring a Ladder Assist, and that's not necessarily true. Whenever you file a claim with your homeowner's insurance, it's up to the insurance company. It's up to the adjuster to determine what kind of damage is there, what type of peril, what caused the damage, how much damage is actually present on the property, and whether it would warrant roof replacement or repair in that situation. That's strictly up to the adjuster to determine whether they repair or replace a roofing system. But our role in the process is to quantify that damage and document it and give them a visual of that damage so they have the best view possible to understand what happened, when it happened, how much happened, and what steps they should take from there.
All right. Well, maybe Ryan, you can answer this one. What kind of certifications are needed to work with Knights as a Ladder Assist technician?
Yeah, so like James said, we're purely a supplemental part of the process whenever you file an insurance claim. So we have certifications that specialize us in documenting and identifying damage. So that would be those HAG residential and HAG commercial certifications.
Okay. And then in regard to those certifications, are there any other safety training courses that you guys take in order to perform this job safely?
Yes, we undergo a kind of a training program that puts our technicians through a course of how to safely access and climb roofing systems using steep access equipment.
All right. And what kind of equipment would that include for steep access?
So we're going to have specialized equipment that allow us to harness to a roofing system and plant ourselves onto shingles and actually climb the shingles themselves.
All right.
There's
Well,
a few different types of fall protection equipment or gear out there. Kind of depends on the technician which one they choose to utilize. The GOAT Steep Assist and the Ridge Pro are probably the two most prominent pieces of equipment that people within the industry would know, understand, and recognize. Very similar pieces of equipment, basically a hook at the end of a long pole, and that would hook into the ridge of a roofing system. And that allows us to safely access, scale steeper pitch roofs. Probably you're talking about an 812, 912, 1012 and above. Anything above that pitch value, 1212 being a 45-degree angle. So if you can imagine, a roofing system, something like this, very dangerous to stand on. Those pieces of equipment allow us to do that safely without the fear of falling off and, obviously being injured or death.
of course, yeah, very important. Don't want anyone falling off any roofs. All right. Well, what are some of the common mistakes you think people make when a ladder assist is needed for an inspection?
Well, I think one of maybe not a mistake, but let's call it a misconception. A lot of homeowners, insureds, as we refer to them as, whenever we come out and do an inspection on their property, again, we're there strictly to provide customer service, to document the damage, to collaborate with the homeowner and figure out where damage has occurred, maybe where an interior leak is happening stemming from some kind of damage to the roofing system. We definitely collaborate with the insureds, discuss the situation with them, try to figure out where a leak may be happening in the roof or where storm damage to the roof may actually be located. And then we take that information and then we put it into our process, and we try to hone in on those areas where a leak may be happening or where storm damage may be happening to that roof, basically trying to address all of their concerns. Sometimes the insureds obviously understand where damage is on a roofing system. Like, for instance, you step out in your front yard and you see shingles missing off the front slope of your house. Obviously, you're pointing straight to that and saying, hey, I have wind damage there. But, as we all know, not all homes these days, roofing systems are viewable from the ground. Very tall, elaborate roofing systems, very steep, dangerous. So they can't always see where damage may be happening or where a problematic area of the roofing system is actually hiding. So we collaborate with them. We try to figure out what's going on. What exactly was the reason for the insurance claim being filed? And then we try to do our very best to paint the picture for the adjusters so that they can understand the specifics of this property, where the leak was coming in or where damage to the roof actually occurred. Trying to take into account direction. Right? Storms come from a certain directional area, and maybe you have damage to one side of the house, maybe not the other. That's very, very pertinent information for the adjusters to understand. Pitch values, material makeup, installation of those materials. These are all very important things for insurance adjusters to know and understand so they can make the most accurate coverage determination possible.
All right. Well, thank you so much for answering those questions. I don't have any more planned, but if you guys have a couple of things that you would like to add on about ladder assist and what goes into that and anything else you want to add, let's go ahead and open it up for that.
Sure, I'll follow up with that previous one. Didn't get to the gist of it.
Yeah.
So the misconception the insureds usually have is that when we come out and do an inspection on the property, that we're the individuals making the coverage determination per the insurance company, and that's not true at all. The role in the process for the ladder assist technician is to quantify the damage, to illustrate the damage, to photograph it, document it very well, present that to the adjuster. But under no circumstances does the ladder assist technician make a coverage determination per the insurance company. Right. That responsibility falls strictly on the shoulders of the adjuster. And regardless of what information the the ladder assist technician may provide to the adjuster, the adjuster, the licensed adjuster themselves, they have full control over the coverage determination, and they have access to a lot of information that ladder assist technicians don't get. And that may include prior claim history, right? For instance, maybe the insured had a storm event a year ago. They had some damage on their roof. Their insurance company's already paid for their roof to be replaced, but maybe that roof hasn't yet been replaced. And then fast forward a year, another storm event occurs. They have more damage to the roof. They file another claim. We go out and do an inspection on there. Not only are we seeing old storm-related damage, but we're also seeing new storm-related damage. So we document it all. We pass it along to the adjuster. But if the insurance company doesn't agree to pay for that roof again because it never got replaced, right, that's information that the insurance company / adjuster has. We don't get access to that information. That's really none of our business. Our business is strictly documenting damage to the property so that the adjuster has the best look possible. So it's really, really important to note that we don't make coverage determinations. We've had insureds in the past. Obviously, when we come out and do the inspection, there's a misconception there that we're the one making the call one way or another. Very important to note, we strictly quantify, document the damage for the adjuster. They make the call.
Right. I mean, you guys don't have an insurance policy in front of you to interpret for them while you're, inspecting their damage. That is all squarely on the shoulders of the insurance adjuster for the carrier. So definitely a good thing to keep clear that a ladder assist technician isn't making policy coverage determinations. They're seeing the damage and providing evidence to someone else who does that.
Correct. And not all homeowners insurance policies are the same. It's not a one size fits all type of industry. Lots of different types of policies, lots of possible policy inclusions or exclusions that could be in play. And that's where the adjuster comes into play. We scope the damage. We give them the information pertaining to the damage, but it's up to the adjuster to interpret that damage, agree or disagree with our damage assessment. But then it goes further than that. They have to interpret the policy language, inclusions, exclusions, figure out what they can actually cover, pay for, right? That's what it all comes down to.
Absolutely. Well, thanks so much for meeting today and talking about ladder assist and what Knight Solutions does with ladder assist and ladder assist technicians. I think that's all we have today, unless there's anything else either of you want to add.
We didn't exactly touch on the repair versus replace scenario. So many times over, there is damage. It's just not it's not widespread. It's not overwhelming damage where the adjusters just immediately, yep, I'm going to buy the whole roof, write them a check, right? So I would say 90% of the time there's damage, but it's minimal. Yeah. We didn't really touch on the part about ladder assist technicians not really getting into the debate of repair versus replace. We do not inform the insurance adjusters about whether they should repair or replace. That's strictly up to the adjuster to determine. There are some things that a ladder assist technician can do to help an adjuster with that endeavor. Material identification is one of them, obviously. There's lots of asphalt composition shingles out there on roofs these days that are no longer in production. Mm-hmm. So that can very much come into play about repair versus replace scenarios. If it happens to be a shingle that's discontinued, and obviously you can't buy that on the open market anymore, that plays a big role in the adjuster's determination of replacing the whole roof rather than repairing it. Another thing that we can do to help adjusters with the repair versus replace situation scenario, sometimes we do a brittleness test, commonly referred to within the industry as a BT. And what that entails is we kind of do a very basic mock repair situation. We'll like a wind damaged shingle, for instance, a shingle that has been lifted and creased. We'll go to an area of the roof where we have some wind damage observed on there, and we will break the seal very gently, very carefully break the seal on a couple of the shingles above that wind damage shingle. And then we'll perform a BT test, brittleness test. We'll take the shingle itself and we'll manipulate it, flex it, so to speak, at an approximate 45-degree angle to simulate a possible repair of removing that damaged shingle from the roof and then inserting a new shingle. And so the parameters around a BT test, like I said, unseal the shingles above it, manipulate it at an approximate 45-degree angle. You're taking pictures every step along this process. Obviously, taking a picture of the condition of the shingle before you do anything, before you break the seal, before you test anything, showing the condition and overall visual appearance of it. And then once you break the shingle loose, you mark it with an X for the particular shingle you're going to perform the test on. Take a picture of that as well. Once you have it manipulated at an approximate 45-degree angle, take a picture of that as well to document, yes, I took this shingle, I manipulated it as if I was doing a basic repair, and then lay the shingle back down and take another picture of it afterwards. If the manipulation up to about a 45-degree angle, no more than that, don't ever go above 45, because if you go above 45, you're almost guaranteed to cause damage to the shingle, some amount of creasing or granule loss on that asphalt composition shingle. Don't go above a 45, but once you do go to a 45, lay the shingle back down and then take another photo of it, documenting whether that shingle has in fact sustained creasing or granule loss or tearing of any sort like that. And then we would mark with our chalk on the roof either a pass or a fail. If the shingle sustained some creasing / granule loss to it, we would usually indicate that as a failed BT test. But if you can manipulate it at approximately 45-degree angle and then lay the shingle back down, and the adhesive strip underneath of the shingles, if it's still in good enough condition to re-adhere to the shingle below it, no creasing, no granule loss, that's what we would consider a passing brittleness test. This can be a very large determining factor with the insurance adjusters in their debate of repair or replace. So condition of the roof, condition of the shingles themselves, how much granule loss, how old are they, how brittle are they, what's the condition of that adhesive strip of the shingles that bonds them together. All of these pieces of information can be very pertinent for the adjuster. Now, not every insurance company recognizes the efficacy of a brittleness test. Some insurance companies we work with in a minimal damage situation, they know they're going to have a debate about repair or replace. They will ask us to do a brittleness test. And then there are other insurance companies that say, absolutely, don't ever do a brittleness test. In their eyes, it can be considered causing actual damage to the shingles themselves by performing a brittleness test. So it is something we strictly only do with the discretion of the acting adjuster. They're the only person that can give us the authority to do so. Again, because it can sometimes be actually considered causing damage to a shingle. If the BT fails, you caused creasing, granule loss to that shingle, then technically, let's say I had 15 wind damage shingles on a slope and I did a BT and I damaged that. Technically, that kicks that damage count up from 15 to now 16 damaged shingles on that slope. So that's something we can do to help adjusters understand repair versus replace. But under no circumstances do we ever tell adjusters, you should repair this or you should replace it. That's not our call to make at all. That's strictly the responsibility of the adjuster. Mm-hmm. Wilson, any specific topic or something you want to just chat on for a minute?
I can touch on that repair versus replace debate, because that's a huge one when it comes down to insureds working with their contractor, and then we show up to perform our inspection. That question always comes up, repair versus replace, and in no way, shape, or form are we involved in that decision making. Like we've explained, we're purely there to document and identify damage and the condition of the shingle, and then up to the adjuster, the acting adjuster, for that claim to take those pieces that we provide to them and decide whether it's to replace or repair. And in no way do we provide like an opinion on whether we should, or whether the adjuster should replace or repair, but we will give them all the pieces to make the right decision.
Right. What we communicate as a ladder assist technician, what we communicate back to the adjuster is pretty strictly limited to factual evidence, what we can back up with our photo documentation. So I don't come down off of a roof and I don't say, Mr. or Mrs. Adjuster, this roof is in terrible condition. You should buy the roof and just be done with it. No, that's not how it goes. But I may come down off of a roof and I may explain to Mr. or Mrs. Adjuster, condition of this roof is fair to poor. This is a 30-year laminate shingle, and the roofing system appears to be approximately 20 to 25 years in age. I did observe moderate to heavy granule loss throughout several slopes. I did observe some moderate to heavy blistering throughout the slopes. I did observe moderate to heavy wind damage across multiple slopes of the roofing system. Now that's all factual evidence, and my report that I submit to that adjuster would very much substantiate exactly what I just said. But I don't come down and say, yep, just buy the whole roof. It's that easy, right? It does not work that way. And that's a very big misconception within the industry. A lot of people think that's how we operate when we speak with the adjusters. Not the case at all.
Right, because you just don't have access to any of the prior conversations that adjuster has had with an insured, or that insured has had with their carrier about their policy. So you can only work with what you know.
Correct. And wind damage, wind damage as a peril is one thing. That's usually pretty easy to see, to pick off on a roofing system. You see shingles completely missing, or if you see a substantial number of shingles creased, torn. Hail damage is a whole nother animal, right? That's a whole new ball of wax. It can get very, very dicey. It's a little more difficult to document hail damage properly and give the adjuster the best look possible. And a lot of the inspections that we do, they pretty well stem from contractors, right? Knocking on people's doors or calling, homeowners and saying, "Hey, you've had some storm activity in your area recently. We're working in the area, and we'll give you a free inspection." Blah blah blah, all that good stuff, right? As soon as the contractor gets on site, they climb up on the roof, maybe for just a couple of minutes, maybe for a long time. That's to be determined at a later point in time. But a lot of our inspections start with contractors, and of course, contractors, they're trying to obviously gain the work. They want the work. They want the insurance company to pay for the roofing system so that they can replace the roof, and of course, make profit. Right? That's no secret. There's no sense in hiding that. And so contractors will say, "Yeah, this is wind damage. Yeah, this is hail damage. That's wind damage. That's hail." Well, it's not that easy for us, for ladder assist technicians. I can't go up there and just snap 2 or 3 pictures and say, yes, there's hail damage on all sides of the roof, by the roof, right? No, our process is way more thorough, way more detailed, and I have to be able to substantiate the potential for hail damage on this roofing system, and I have to have the proper evidence to back it up. There's a very clear distinction about the difference between blistering, granule loss, and then hail damage, right? Looks very different, and hail damage would almost always come with good collateral evidence to back it up. Damage to box vents that are made out of aluminum, or gutters that are made out of aluminum, downspouts, rain caps of an HVAC stack that protrudes up out through your roofing system, chimneys that are, have vinyl siding on them. Maybe there's fractures to the vinyl siding. Satellites are a great indicator of hail activity. And a lot of times when they're mounted on the roofing systems, they've been up there for years at a time. They're heavily oxidized surfaces. And whenever a hailstone hits a heavily oxidized surface, it produces what we refer to as a spatter mark, the removal of oxidation off of a surface. And it's incredibly hard to fake. You can definitely tell the difference if you've done this for a while. You can tell the difference between a real spatter mark and, let's say, maybe just a circular spot of algae or lichen growth on that same type of surface. Or I live in the bourbon capital of the world, so around here there's a lot of distilleries, and the production within those distilleries produces a lot of, we'll call it soot, right, that gets into the air and floats around to neighboring properties and, discolors fascia, satellites, vinyl siding, all that kind of stuff. All of that discoloration, oxidation on a surface, when it's removed by a hailstone, it's a very telltale sign of hail activity. It's also a great, great indicator of hail size and the potential for that hail to actually produce damage on a material such as an asphalt composition shingle. Generally speaking, it usually takes about a 1 inch to an inch and a quarter size hailstone to actually produce physical damage on an asphalt composition shingle. So if you see a heavily oxidized satellite surface mounted on that roof, it's covered in spatter marks. And you can measure those spatter marks, and let's say they're only pea size, maybe 1/4 inch or maybe 0.35 inches in size. That spatter mark usually by HAG engineering standards usually represents about 80 to 90% of the actual size of the hailstone. So let's just stick with 1/4 inch size spatter marks observed. That means that hailstone was maybe 3/10 of an inch, possibly 4/10 of an inch. Usually that's not going to be enough to produce damage on a roofing surface, right? And that's a great indicator, a great piece of evidence that we're looking for when we perform an inspection. And if it's not there, that usually tells us that maybe what we're seeing on the roof isn't in fact hail damage. Maybe it's blistering, or maybe it's just granule loss, or maybe it's a spot defect potentially from the production of those shingles. It may have had a defect in it straight out of the package, not necessarily storm related damage once it's on the roofing system.
That's a good distinction to be able to tell the difference between what's hail damage or what is a manufacturer's defect. And, your contractor is probably going to say, well, there's a defect and either way it should be replaced and I'll replace it. But you have to have someone that says this is storm damage for it to be covered.
By the insurance company, yes. That's what insurance companies' policies. That's what they're for, to provide you coverage for storm-related events, things that are absolutely out of our control, and not all of this other stuff that we're talking about: blistering, granule loss, just normal agent deterioration, possible spot defects, possible mechanical damage, maybe just the dropping of a tool on a shingle during installation, right? They drop a pneumatic air gun on a shingle, hits a little piece of metal or something, causes a little gouge or a little tear in a shingle or something like that. Very important for us to be able to distinguish between what is in fact storm-related damage and what isn't, because homeowners insurance policies are not there to just cover anything and everything. It's not there to cover defects. It's not there to cover mechanical damage or blistering. Blistering can be the result of just poor ventilation on a roofing system. And that's not what insurance policies are designed to cover. So for us to document what we see on a roof and figure out whether it is storm-related damage or not storm-related damage, that's what ladder assisting is all about. Again, trying to give the adjuster the best perspective possible so that they can make the most accurate coverage determination possible. What's one thing that really irks you when you meet with contractors in the field or insureds for that matter? When they just don't understand the process, the situation. Give us some insight.
Yeah, I think a big thing is contract insurers in a way of to kind of make us out like we are a threat, that we are there to deter the insurance company from covering them the way that they feel like they should. And that's just simply not the case. Our job is to be, from a standpoint, a neutral third party, in the fact that we specialize in gathering documentation, we specialize in identifying damage, and we specialize in climbing roofing systems. And our job is to purely come up with a report to give supplemental information to their adjuster to help them make a better estimate for their claim. And yeah, we aren't there to get happy about denying a claim. We aren't there have that in our heads. We're there to find as much information as we can, find as much damage as we can, and document as much as we can. So that misconception of we are the enemy as the insured is just simply not true.
Absolutely. One other thing we could touch on right quick, a statement I recently read on the internet about ladder assist by a contracting company, a roofing company, made a statement to the effect of once you file a claim with your homeowner's insurance, that the insurance company would direct you to get a ladder assist on your own, and that's not the case. Now, I do know several major insurance companies that when you do initially file a claim, they would sometimes advise, hey, find a contractor maybe to help you through this process. Maybe have them take a look at it first and see if the contractor would at all substantiate the claim for the home insurance company. Um, I'm definitely not trying to throw contractors under the bus, but if there's any amount of damage there at all, they're certainly always leaning towards the side of, yes, you have damage. Yes, you should file a claim with your insurance company, right? And we'll help you through this process. We'll meet with an adjuster, or we'll meet with a ladder assist technician. We'll collaborate. We'll show them what it is we've observed on a roofing system that we would consider to be storm-related damage that should be covered under an insurance policy. So the insurance company, like I said, they may direct you to find a contractor. As a matter of fact, they may direct you to find multiple contractors and maybe provide multiple estimates from contractors in your area that could potentially do the repair work or the replacement of the roofing system. I see that happen all the time. But the insurance company would never direct a homeowner to source a ladder assist themselves. That's pretty much within the insurance industry itself. That's a service that insurance adjusters utilize, and they would utilize a ladder assist for a number of reasons. Right off the top of my head, we'll try to go through a couple of them. First of all, if a roofing system is too tall or too steep for the adjuster themselves to physically access. Second reason, even if an adjuster is physically capable of accessing your roofing system, the insurance company they work for may not allow them to. It is a liability concern. It is obviously very dangerous climbing on a roofing system, and the insurance company may not want their adjusters to take that risk on. That's why they outsource that type of work to companies like ours, people that are very much in tune with climbing a roofing system, trained to use the right fall protection equipment to do it safely, and then provide that information back to the adjuster. Keeps them safe and sound on the ground without a care in the world. Another reason an insurance company may get a ladder assist company involved in an insurance inspection is simply claim volume. In times of heavy storm activity, heavy claim volume, maybe the adjusters just can't get to insureds as fast as they would like to, right? So sometimes even if just a one-story, very walkable roof, 412 pitch, that's almost always something that an adjuster is capable of getting on themselves. But like I said, in times of intense claim volume, if they can't get to that property quick enough, they would maybe come to us and say, hey, look, we've had lots of claims come in. We've got high volume right now. Need you guys to help out. Will you please go to this property, scope the damage, send a report back to me, and that way I can get to more claims faster than I could by myself. So that's another reason an adjuster might have ladder assist involved. A couple of other reasons, right off the top of my head. Sometimes if a tarp has been placed on a roofing system prior to an inspection taking place, again, it's a liability concern for the adjusters and for the insurance company. They may not want their adjusters to touch or manipulate that tarp at all. Again, that's where they may get a ladder assist company involved. Again, we're trained and certified to do these kinds of things, to access the roof safely, to possibly detach that tarping system from the roof, document what type of damage is under that tarp, and then reset it accurately to the way that it was before our inspection started. So there are several reasons insurance companies may get us involved. Another one right off the top of my head. Now, there are some insurance companies, this goes back to claim volume and the speed of turnaround for documentation. There are some insurance companies out there kind of moving away from the older generation business model of having adjusters in every county of every state or every city, having multiple adjusters there that physically travel to the properties every single time a claim is filed. Not a lot of insurance companies, but one specific right off the top of my head, they're kind of moving into the 21st century, the next generation of insurance claims and how they're handled. And they very much rely, again, on companies like ours to scope the damage, produce a report, illustrate the report, show them where the damage is, where it's occurring, how this leak may be getting in through the roofing system, material identification, quantifying damage, all that good stuff. Again, we send them a report. Their adjusters never actually come out into the field, excuse me, except for maybe very specific instances. They rely on strictly ladder assist companies to do the damage scoping for them and then return a report. Now, a lot of insureds may look at this and they be like, I don't like that. I would much rather have an insurance adjuster from my insurance company come to my property and look at the damage themselves. And I totally understand that point of view, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. As Mr. Wilson alluded to earlier, our stance, in this process of inspecting a property is to be a very neutral, unbiased third-party individual, right? I'm not the insurance company. I'm also not the homeowner, the insured. So my stance on what damage I see, how much damage I see, and what the cause of that damage is coming from a very unbiased, third-party perspective, right? And I provide that information back to the insurance company. But at the end of the day, it is up to the adjuster to review our information, agree or disagree with our assessment, and then look over the policy coverage and apply coverage where they can.
All right. Well, lots of great content here, lots of great subjects to talk about. I'm so glad we were able to have both of you here to really set the record straight on what ladder assist is and what ladder assist technicians do, and how the Knight Solutions team handles all that.